Sketch 2 smaller pear lines inside the first pear. Keeping these lines nice and light, as they will be our guidelines. A 2H pencil is preferred for this. I'm using a 2H 2mm lead pencil. I'm now going to draw lines from the outer pear shape to the middle of the 8 sections. In doing this, we are creating the outer edge of our bezel facets for the crown view. Take your time and slowly work your way around the pear to complete this step. Now we can join the points to the smaller pear to finish off the bezel facets. Continue your way around the pear to complete this step. Connect all the bezel facet points together to create the star facets. To finish off the crown view, we will draw a line in the middle of the bezel facets to the outer pear. This will create the upper girdle facets. We will now draw the pavilion facets. First, divide the pear into 8 equal sections, ignoring the previously existing north, south, east and west lines. These lines should match up to our lower girdle facets that we drew on the crown view. Now lightly draw a small pear in the middle. This will be our guidelines, so keep this pear nice and light. Now we can draw our lower girdle facets in the middle of each section, meeting up with the inner pear. Continue all the way around the diamond to complete the pavilion facets. Now I will demonstrate how both views will look together. Start by drawing the crown view facets, then continue on to divide the pear into 8 sections like we did with the previous pavilion facet step. Notice how these lines are matching up to the lower girdle facets on the crown view. Now we can draw the lower girdle facets. Making sure that the lower girdle facets line up with the bezel facet points. Now that we understand how to draw a pear diamond, we can move on to the next step of rendering. We now have a finished pear cut diamond. For part 1 of the Advanced Diamond series, I will show you how to render a round brilliant cut diamond. I will be using a 2mm 2H lead pencil for this exercise. We will start by learning how to draw a diamond. Start with a 17mm circle and divide it up into 8 equal sections. Next, draw 3 circles very lightly as they are just guidelines. I use a 17mm, 13mm and 9mm circle. I'm now going to mark the middle of each section on the 13mm circle. From those marks, we are going to draw lines out to the 17mm circle. This is the start of our bezel facets for the crown view. I like to draw the outside first and work my way inwards. We can now mark the 9mm circle so we know where to draw the second half of the bezel facets. Join all the points up. This creates the bezel facets. Drawing a line between the bezel facets creates the upper girdle facets. Now I'm going to connect the points of the bezel facets to create the star facets. This finishes our crown view for the round cut diamond. We will now learn how to draw the pavilion facets. First, divide the circle into 8 equal sections. Then mark the middle of each section. Using a circle template, we are going to lightly draw a small circle in the middle for a guideline. I've used a 4.5mm. Using the guidelines, we can now draw a line from the centre out to the outer circle. These lines are going to create our lower girdle facets for our pavilion view. Feel free to use a ruler to get perfectly straight lines. It is best to do this step without one, as it will build your skills and give you practice when you have to paint the lines later on in the video. Continue this step for the rest of the cycle. I will now demonstrate what both views will look like together, as this is how our diamond will be painted. Start by drawing the top view and the crown facets. Now draw lines intersecting, matching the lines to the upper girdle facet lines. Now lightly draw a small circle in the centre for a guideline. Draw the back facets like so. I'm drawing an imaginary line to the point of the bezel facet to get my angle correct before I draw the pavilion facet. Continue on with this step to finish off the pavilion facets and both views together. Now that we understand how to draw a diamond, we are able to move on to the next step of rendering. I will now demonstrate how to use permanent white gouache. I've always placed a small amount on a scrap piece of paper and slowly add small amounts to the paint. I like to try and make it a creamy consistency so the paint flows smoothly and I can get fine lines.
Always twirl the brush in a downwards motion, as this helps remove any excess paint and help prevents any damage to the bristles by reshaping them into a point. I find smaller brush strokes are easier to control when painting with permanent white gouache. Again, this is just a personal preference.
Too much water will make the paint too thin and see-through, so getting the paint consistency just right is key for a good rendering. Always check the consistency of the paint on a scrap piece of paper before applying it to your rendering. I am randomly painting small triangle sections around the diamond to create this highlight. We now have a finished brown brilliant cut diamond. I'll show you how to render an asscher cut. Using a size 2 brush and zinc white gouache, add water to the paint to make it a watercolour consistency. Taking your time and trying to get the lines as fine as possible and as straight as possible.